welcome in Jayne Huntsman. Oh, we have some claps for you.
That's so cool, thank you.
We were having problems earlier with the claps, so I'm just glad that they worked for you, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I've been so excited and nervous about this at the same time. How do you handle talking to people as compared to performing for people?
Oh, that's a great question. How dare you come up in here asking great questions right away? No, it's great. No, I'm not mad. You know what? I actually, like I was saying earlier, I stalk the crap out of people so that
Yeah.
way I kind of I have a couple loosely based questions prepared for any given person,
Mhm.
but it's
Mhm.
it's just like being really really familiar with their brand and what they do.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't really ask people on who I don't know. Like, a
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that I am kind of playing favorites, in a way because I ask people on who inspire me in some type of way.
Yeah.
So it's usually people I am familiar with, and like I said, I
Mhm.
stalk all the socials. We have the real life Cookie Monster here. It's a very special day. Uh, so so yeah, honestly, that's it. Like I don't know. I also here's another thing. That's why dad hasn't been on. No. No. Oh no, my chat is gone from this screen. How very dare. There we go. Um
Oh, there he
but
goes, yeah.
no, we're gonna have dad on again. I think I wanna do another Father's Day special and a Mother's Day special too. I wanna have both of you back on.
That's so cute.
Yeah. We did it last year, not for those days, but, like, just they were
Er
other random days, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad ended up wearing the Winifred Sanderson wig by the end of the stream.
That is beautiful.
It was
That is beautiful.
it was beautiful. Mhm.
I have to tune in this time.
Yes, it was beautiful. But what I was gonna say was I have a degree in radio and announcing as
Mhm.
also, so I
Oh.
yeah. I think once I say that to somebody, they're like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." Yeah.
Yeah, it checks out. There you
Yeah.
go.
It
That's why
checks out.
you're so clear, so audible.
Absolutely. But no, but you sound great as well, and honestly, like, a lot of streamers fall into this place of thinking they overthink talking on stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to get used to it over a certain amount of time. And so that's honestly, that kind of starts the conversation off perfectly because I don't know a ton about you.
Mhm.
But what I do know is that you are a fabulous musician, with or without a band, which I
Thank you.
love. And honestly, I never get to talk to people who are currently in bands. Like, I
Yeah,
think
actually.
yeah, you're the first person I've had on. I think you're the 23rd or 24th person I've had
Yeah.
on, and nobody that I've interviewed thus far has a band right now.
Wow.
I've interviewed a couple people who were
Huh.
in bands, who dabbled in being in a band, but you're the first
Mhm. But
person.
just not currently.
Yeah, so I have some really specific questions that I kind of wanna, like, selfishly, like, level with because I wanna know if you have the same experience. Um,
Okay,
but,
yeah. I'm interested in seeing your experience as well.
yeah, it's hard being used to being in a band, or used to being, like, performing regularly with a band and then going to Twitch and not being in a band. That's a whole thing. But I don't wanna get too far into it before I even, like, start like, I didn't ever even introduced you. You don't even need an introduction. It's fine. You came in and you were like, "So I have a question."
I was ready.
You were. I all the credit. And by the way, just in case anybody wants to know how to find Jane's Twitch or janeandthehuntsman.com, just do command chat and you will get both links. You can find them right there. There's also that fancy dynamic follow button over underneath her box on the screen as well. Um, but like I said, Jayne is an incredible musician, also has a band, is a streamer on Twitch. I would love to hear where your musical journey began. Because I have no idea actually. I don't know anything about your musical history. So yeah, where did it all begin?
Yeah. I never know how to answer this question because I didn't really connect with music as a child like some other people did. Um, there was only specific musical groups I was allowed to listen to as a kid
Okay.
because my family, well, not my mom per se, but my dad was like ultra conservative. So while we were living with him, it was like this or
Gotcha. Yeah.
nothing. But then he had moved out, and my mom, I think one year for Christmas, we got Guitar Hero.
Okay.
And I started finding all these bands and I was so obsessed, but because we lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, I didn't really have that experience of like being able to Google and just see, like listen to them play. I would
Mhm.
just listen to the same song as I would play it on Guitar Hero. And then I would download pictures of the bands with my dial up computer. And then if people asked what I wanted for like a gift for Christmas or my birthday or something, I would be like, I want this CD. And I'll have like,
Aw.
I was ready.
Very specific. I need this CD.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah. I
love
know
that.
like the first gift that somebody gave me that I think I cried was when I got Brand New Eyes by Paramore.
Okay. Okay.
And so that album was like one of my first deep dives into an album.
Oh, I love what remind me because I was never like the biggest Paramore fan of all time or anything. What were the big songs on that record?
Ignorance, the only exception. It was
Okay.
right before the first split of the band
Okay.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
fantastic though.
yeah.
I
I
love that.
mean, it was interesting. I guess so the progression would be, my parents had a very tumultuous relationship my whole childhood,
Mm.
but when they had split up officially, I needed like some kind of outlet and I was very introverted. So I found an old, like terrible keyboard and started writing songs. And my mom heard me and she was just so excited. She
Aw.
found a used guitar that she got for me for Christmas. And she was like, I know this is what you want to do. So
And when was
that's
that?
kind
Like,
of,
how old were you when that happened?
I was 13. So
Aw.
13 years ago.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. I know, right, Arma? It's interesting because there's so many introverts that but musicians have to put on an extrovert face. And
Yeah.
then the stream ends and we don't talk to anybody for 24 hours. And then it's true. What very minimal. Like the amount of talking and peopling that it takes to stream is
Mhm.
really draining. And so I feel that. Like I it sounds like your mom was like super supportive of music like from the get like
I mean,
just
she was. I don't know. I think the theme in my life at least has been relationships will go through ebbs and flows
mhm.
of understanding.
Okay.
Um, so like my mom was completely cool with me playing music up until the point when I didn't go to college.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people my age will relate to that in the
Yeah.
sense there was a big push for us to go to school. And it's not that I didn't want to go, I just couldn't afford to go to the school that I really wanted to go to for music.
Sure.
And it kind of had me uninterested in going to just a school to do whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's totally understandable. I mean, you're a smidgen younger than I'm just gonna say you're a smidgen younger than me. We're just gonna pretend like that's
I get
true.
that a good bit.
Yeah, it's yeah, there's a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say that we're a whole generation apart, but like almost I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But nothing changed between my generation and yours. Even if you are on the younger side of millennial and I'm on the older side of millennial,
Mhm.
nothing changed. Like everybody really was told like, "No, you need to go to college no matter what."
Yeah.
And I agree. I've said this many times like I did go to college and it was for stuff that I didn't use until Twitch. Like I didn't use any of it. It's announcing and radio and film and
Mm.
journalism was my minor. And so like I never did any of that.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
emceeing on stage, okay. Okay. Editing music videos. Okay. Like No, there's a couple things that relate, but, like, did I need to be in, like, $40,000 worth of debt for that? N nuh-uh. Uh-uh.
Ugh.
I just don't know. I don't know. Me and my parents have had this conversation many a time over. Yes, I got a ton of wonderful experiences, but I don't know if that was worth it at this point, you know?
Mhm.
So I
I
feel
get
you.
that.
I totally feel
Yeah.
you. So when you started writing, or I'm sorry, when you started like working on music, like,
Mhm.
do you remember what your first song was about when you started writing music?
Yes. Yes, it was called, November Rain, and I'm a November baby, so
Aw.
it was just one of those things where I was, like, talking about being sad, essentially,
Aw.
which I guess I guess hasn't changed much over the years. That sounds terrible.
No, you are emo kana. You literally have now, I'm gonna call it, you coined the term now, emo kana. So I think it's on brand is what it is.
I hadn't heard anybody else using that term, but there was nothing else that I thought would explain my style of music better. Specifically once I got with the band too. It's just emo kana, a good healthy mix of like roots, folk, country, Americana, all that, and then emo rock as well, and just sandwich them together.
Yes, but I deal with the same problem trying to describe Elsie Banks's music
Yeah. What do you
because
usually say?
okay, so for a long time I went with bubblegum grunge because and, to this day, I will still use that every once in a while. I actually don't think that really described us until our last record, but I've been saying it for many years actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, like, it's like you can't take the inspirations out of us, but sometimes what the end result sounds like it how do you even describe? Like,
Mm,
when your first love, like your for instance, Hayley Williams,
mhm.
that is hard to undo, even though now it sounds like country and emo and Americana and, like, folk and maybe a little bit of bluegrass in there too, I feel, in there
Yeah, I
somewhere.
mean, yeah.
Just only in, like, 2 songs. I can't think of what they are off the top of my head, but I definitely feel a little bit of bluegrass in there. Um, but I know I laughed when you said November Rain because of the Guns N'
The
Roses
Guns N'
song.
Roses, I didn't even know that song existed when I
Yeah.
wrote my song, but then I went back and listened to it, and I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. That is kind of funny, though. I love that. Um, around what age you said you were 13 when you started, like, writing and
I was 13 when I started playing guitar. I
okay.
think well, I've been writing for forever, just poetry and,
Oh.
like, prose in general. My mom always jokes about I was the baby that would take my my fingers and actually turn the pages of the book instead of just, like, eating the book.
Yeah. Aw. That's so sweet.
But so, yeah, I've always been, like, in love with words in a lot of different ways, and so I think the transition from writing and then writing music was smooth
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah, I can see that. I had the exact opposite experience. I
Mhm.
don't think I ever cared about books, not even for like a minute. I mean, Goosebumps. I loved Goosebumps,
Oh, goosebumps, yeah.
but that was it. Up until like 2 years ago, I picked reading back up because I needed to get away from notifications all the time.
Yeah.
Just the life of having to brand yourself, you know? And so I picked reading back up, but yeah, I had the exact opposite experience. I still
Mhm.
struggle to write a lot of words. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it's just I write like 2 songs a year legitimately. On my own, I should say, because
Yeah.
EBX is
Co-write.
extremely collaborative and I emphasis on the collaborative. On my own, I think I literally write maybe 2 songs a year. So
Mhm.
I am a huge fan of people like you. There's a lot of musicians out there. Y'all just like vomit songs out. L-
You're right. I mean, there's a lot of people it's I don't know. There's value to both, right? There's value to all different ways that you can write, whether you're putting out a bunch or putting out, like 2 really quality songs a year, like,
That's fair.
I don't know. I wouldn't say one's better than the other or anything
Right, it's
'cause
not quality over quantity or vice versa.
no.
I just wish that I could write more. Even you know what I mean? Like streamers,
Yeah.
especially streamers. In the streamer space, I feel a lot of pressure to just keep writing music because we have the Jane Huntsmans and the Emily Henrys and the Wonder Trulies and all of these
Oh
people. Yeah, I put your ass in the same category. Yes, I
oh my
did.
gosh, that's insane to me.
You heard me because y'all just vomit out new music, and I'm like, I am trapped. I'm stuck. I'm very envious, but
Do you
in an
think
inspirational kind of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think that you are, kind of hampered by the idea of writing by yourself, or would it be more productive for you to do more co-writes?
I think it would be more productive for me to do co-writes because I have trouble getting started.
Yeah.
I never it is okay, I shouldn't say I never because there are a couple songs that I've written that I had to get out of bed in the middle of the night to get out of my head. Uh, or I had to get out of the shower and write it down immediately because I thought of a lyric and I had to get it out and on paper because I'll never remember it. Um, I woke up in the middle of the night once and recorded a voice demo onto a phone that probably wasn't a
Mhm.
smartphone. It was long enough ago. And then that song didn't make it onto a record till last year. like,
Yeah. Oh,
like
wow!
dead ass serious. Like I
But
don't
it did.
it finally made it. It finally made it, into a piece of a song that somebody else started, and I'm like, "Oh, I have a chorus. I have a chorus that I wrote, like, 15 years ago for this." It's so stupid. But, yeah, I have trouble starting the process. It's very rare that I'm like, "Ooh, there's something in my head that needs to get out," and I'm so inspired by y'all who are like that, and I feel like you happen to be one of those people that you are writing new songs regularly, you know? It's
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know,
I
it's
mean,
daunting.
I just, like, I'm never gonna live that down, the fact that you grouped me with Emily Henry and Wonder Truly. I'm just like,
Yes, no, I adore your songwriting skills, and, like and getting onto Twitch to begin with, is just, pardon me, it's eye-opening. How many different types of, like, genres, like you were talking about, it's
Yeah.
eye-opening all the different type of music and all the type of indie music, and I still regularly, like, I go through my Spotify release radar. And I'm like,
Mm,
okay, how many streamers am I following that released music this week? And it's like crazy. Tyler Lebs, that motherfucker releases a
yeah.
song every single
Oh,
2 weeks. I'm like, who do you think you are, sir? It's like offensive. I'm like, how
truly.
it,
Oh,
it's ridiculous. But I absolutely I love it. And it's anyway. I had another question about songwriting, and I'm not lying. I will bring this up. The Goose Game song. It's in my notes.
yeah,
I need to
yeah.
know.
Well, I'm not gonna sing it right now because I
No, no, no.
can't quite remember how it goes or anything, but, I have the lyrics written down, and I'm sure if I saw them, it'd come back to me.
I love it.
I just need to find them because I moved recently.
Yes. So
Um,
obviously, you played the game on stream.
yes, which was an incredible experience to share with such an understanding community.
Why? I guess sometimes the question isn't why, but how did you end up playing this game on stream? What? How did we get here? Is my question, I guess. Oh,
I
oh my, hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. I think you scared
I
Jane. Welcome
I
in.
just a little
Sorry. Welcome in about Bever Oh my gosh! What just is happening right now? Cope, hello, welcome in, new friends about beverages and Berserker Cope. We just got literally double rated within moments of each other. Double raid. Welcome in. It's a double rainbow. We are doing our weekly Friday chat session with a streamer named Jayne Huntsman today. So thank you all for joining us. We really only got started about 20 minutes ago. So you haven't missed a whole lot, actually. Still a lot to dig into. We were ironically, we were talking about gaming a little bit while y'all came in. So welcome in. Y'all, I have to say, I'm not gonna lie, Berserker Cope, the best thighs on Twitch. Just everybody needs to know he has the best thighs on Twitch. You better know. That's it.
I need
That's
to
the tweet.
follow. I don't
You're like,
know.
yes, ma'am.
I don't Oh my gosh, I love that picture.
Thank you. No, seriously though, about beverages and Berserker Cope. Thank you both so much. Normally I would sing and dance, not literally, but I would do the song and dance when y'all raid. But again, we are doing a chat session right now, so I appreciate y'all bringing some more partiers in. We're getting to know Jayne a little bit more. She is a musician on Twitch as well as IRL with the band Jayne and the Huntsman. If you want to know more information about Jayne, do command chat and you will find her links. They are there, right there in the chat. So yeah, thank you all for your double raid. That is wild. That never happens. The timing is crazy. So yeah, thank you
I'm just
all.
I'm glad the second one didn't scare me as much as the first.
So for those of you watching who don't maybe realize, I run through the things. Streamers will understand this part of it. Hi Zooks, welcome in. I miss your face. I run OBS virtual camera so that way the person I am chatting with can actually see the stream in Discord. They also hear all of the alerts. So which is a good and bad thing, because
I
I've
mean,
I've done chats where I can't hear what's going on in the stream and they're reacting to somebody and I have no idea what they're reacting to. And so like that's just as alienating sometimes. So you just I don't know. I just picked one and yeah, Jayne got an air horn to the ear and so did I. We all did. It's fine. But yeah, we were talking about the Untitled Goose Game when y'all joined.
yes.
So
Yeah.
how and why did this come up on your stream? I must know.
I think what really happened was I started streaming because the world shut down. And, I all my gigs were gone,
Mhm.
and so I wasn't so much looking for I was just really looking for a place to still play because I I was just hungry for that release of, like, "I need to do this."
Yeah. Yeah.
That I hope that makes sense. I'm saying it in such a
Yeah.
weird way.
No, like a creative
Um,
outlet.
yeah, yeah, and I wanted to share it. I didn't want it to just be about me because I'd been internalizing everything for so long that playing shows was kinda like you said earlier, just like a catharsis for
Mhm.
me. Um, so I was streaming, like, almost every day, and at one point, I think my voice really needed to rest, and I was like, "Why don't I try some games from now f from
Yeah.
for another thing to do?" And I hadn't played any games before. Like, I didn't grow up playing games other than Guitar Hero.
That's a win,
And
honestly.
so I was like, "I need something really slow because my brain isn't there yet to where I can keep up with all the kids that are playing Fortnite and just killing it."
Yeah.
But so I was like, "Goose Game, this sounds like me."
I love that. So you needed vocal rest and here's the Goose Game.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I love that. How did your audience take to that? How did the chat take to that?
I think people really liked it. I mean, I was still just, like, getting started at the time, I feel like. I might be wrong about that, but I still feel like I was really getting started, so I hadn't really established my core, like,
Fair.
regular viewers yet.
Sure.
So a lot of it was people who would come in and, like, try to offer game advice or
Yeah.
whatnot. But then you had people like Damon Archie, who was
Yeah.
here early,
I know. Yeah. I
who
saw
came
that.
in and was just, like, along for the whole ride, like, wanted to see me get that bell.
So, I didn't really realize. So when did you start streaming? When did you start streaming on Twitch?
March 26th of 2020.
Oh my gosh. Our the stream anniversaries are almost exactly the same.
Really?
Mine
When
is
is
April 25th.
April 25th.
It's
Wow.
1 month apart.
A month. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I don't remember when I found you, but I do know that you were still branded as SJ Creative. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's really interesting. You were streaming almost every day. Like that is a lot. Um,
I I just enjoyed it, and I think
yeah.
that I mean, when you have something you're really interested in, why not ride that wave?
Oh, absolutely. No, I did the same thing. So I didn't hit the ground running on Twitch. You did the opposite thing, whereas I was like, I needed a break from gigs. I was burnt the fuck out. And I'm
Mm,
not gonna lie, like, unpopular opinion, I really needed the break. Like, and we're both spoonies. I know you understand how bad not only is it burnout mentally, but physically, then your body starts to
yeah.
flare up too because you're just burnt out
Mhm.
and nobody really gets that except other spoonies really commonly.
Yeah.
And so we were about to embark on a whole like southern tour, like down to I don't remember where. It wasn't like quite as far as like Louisiana. It was like Midwest Southern, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like maybe down to Kentucky or something. It wasn't super far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was the very first set of things that got canceled. And when I tell you I was relieved, it's, I needed a break.
Yeah. Yeah,
um
that's what that sounds like.
yeah, and so the band streamiversary is actually March 13th because our first canceled gigs, we turned around, we turned our RV around and went to the studio and figured out how to use Twitch.
That's so smart, though.
It was one of the
I
smartest things we've ever done. And we just
Yeah.
hit the ground running. Our first 3 streams had 50 viewers. And
Wow.
I didn't even kn I that didn't even occur to me that that was amazing
Yeah.
until I started grinding it myself, and I was like, "Jesus." Like
Like, this is actually a lot of
yeah.
work.
Whew. Yeah, and so I started gaming first. So,
Did you?
I
Okay, what's
did.
your favorite game?
Oh my gosh. Oh, no. Oh, that's hard. Oh, that's really hard. Uh, I don't know. I really enjoyed I played predominantly horror games.
Yeah.
Um there's so many. There's honestly so many. I loved Layers of Fear.
Mm.
I even got the second one and then proceeded to never play it. But I because that's life
Eventually
of
you can.
eventually I will. I loved that. There was this one, what was that one with the house? I can't say what I want to say because it would spoil parts of the game. Um, Atlas played it too. It was like House on a Hill or
Are
something.
you talking about that one with the weird, creepy doll?
That's like every horror
Okay,
game.
but very specifically, it's a weird, creepy, painted, like mannequin head
Yeah,
doll
maybe.
where you had to go around and like take pictures of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It was like called House on a Hill or something.
I
This is
don't
like the
know.
most indie thing I'm trying to remember ever. But that one was really enjoyable. Uh, but yeah, I got
Okay.
stuck on Dead by Daylight for a while. That's when Damonarchy found my channel. Um, because he was into Dead by Daylight for a really long time and he came in and was helping us learn how to play the game and
Yeah.
would come into the Discord and join us, you know what I mean? Um,
Devour was another
oh,
one that you played a lot.
Devour.
Oh,
Oh, I
that one I really wanna play. That one
Oh
looks
my gosh.
intense.
Oh my gosh, we should do a gaming co-stream.
Ooh.
Cuz here's
I'd
here's
be
the thing,
interested.
right? Like wouldn't that be fun? Because here's the thing, I also did not grow up gaming. I
Mhm.
grew up with a PlayStation and my dad would play Tomb Raider and I would be like the game guide person. Like you go to the computer and print off the whole game guide and now I'm the one on the couch with a binder full of Tomb Raider game guide.
That's so cute, though.
And so my dad would be playing it and he would do the best he could to figure it out, but then he'd be like, "Okay, what do I do? Like, what do I do?"
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
so
Crash
Crash
Bandicoot? Oh, that's a good
Yes.
game too.
Yes, Crash Bandicoot, Pandemonium. There were a handful that I adored, but like then there's like this 20-year period where I didn't touch a game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I started gaming cuz I bought a computer for streaming. My MacBook at the beginning of the pandemic just took a giant shit.
Mm.
Right at the beginning. It was already in the process of leaving. And then when the pandemic hit, I think because I was on it all the
Yeah.
time, it was like, nah. So I bought a gaming piece, a gaming laptop, which I'm still using right now to this day. Uh, and I never looked back. So but
Yeah.
I started streaming gaming. And
That's
so
so funny to me. I just see you so in the music
yeah.
community that it's hard to picture you in gaming.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the honest to goodness truth. And so a lot of my original community members would know I streamed for 4 days a week for a while. There were 2 music days and 2 gaming days.
Mhm.
Which what I know about Twitch now is that that was a terrible idea, but I was kind of just doing what I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
I know that now that was a bad idea, but I was just living my best life. Okay, we're in a pandemic. I'm living my best life. But yeah, that was kind of also the same for me. So I kind of love that you just needed vocal rest, and you were like, here we go. I'm gonna game.
We're just gonna play this game and we're gonna finish it within like 3 days and
Do you still game at all, or have you kind of put it away?
I do, but I'm not good at it. I do it socially, really.
Yeah.
So like my all my friends, I feel like we're playing Apex Legends for a while, so they've got me playing Apex Legends now, which I'm not good at. I'm the teammate that occasionally does something good and then I scream into the mic and then you regret inviting me. Um
We're the same. We are the same. Hmm.
Also, I really love Phasmophobia too, which is a great game to play socially.
Yes.
Trying to think of what else. I did Five Nights at Freddy's, the
Oh,
first
okay.
one on stream, and we'll never do it again. No,
I
too many jump scares.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I never played it long enough to get to the jump scares. I was bored.
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay.
I never made
Yeah.
it long enough. I'm not very patient. I'm not. I just I needed more jump scare. Oh, I needed sooner jump scares.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's a build up, there's a phone call, and then you
Hmm.
wait, and you wait, and you wait.
Yes. It's like the paranormal activity of video games. I do have the patience for paranormal activity, but I did not have the patience for the game version of waiting and watching
Mhm.
security cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question, Arma. So I was peer pressured into Fortnite, 100%. I was peer pressured into it. Have you been peer pressured into it?
No.
Oh, good for
No.
you. Good for
I
you.
just I just haven't had an interest, and, like, I know they got me into Apex, and so
Mhm.
they were trying to see if I would play Fortnite, but I was like, "I've already learned this one. That's enough for me."
That's a great reason, honestly. Yeah, I actually really enjoy Fortnite. I just never it's for me, games actually take up spoons. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know how people do all the things. And I mean even spoonies that I know too, who can stream all the streams and do all the
Mhm.
things and then be like, "Hey, I'm going to be back on playing in like an hour if you want to join." I'm like, "Bruh, like I got to I got to be on my couch now." Like it
Yeah.
takes
I need some downtime.
yeah, and I love the ghost hunting games. All of them. There's like 6 of them. And believe it or not, Phasmo is actually the least exciting one now compared to
Really?
yeah, there's this one called Ghost Watchers
Ghost
and
Watcher.
you
Oh,
have
is that the
to
one where you're, like, almost a Ghostbuster and there's the little squiggle, like, you capture them or whatever?
that one is Ghost Exorcism.
Ah, okay.
But yes, there's
Okay.
that one. Yes. And
Okay.
then Ghost
Sorry.
Watchers. No, it's okay. And then Ghost Watchers, you have to identify the ghost and then you have to based on what the ghost is, you have to exercise it. So it's a different
Mhm.
process. And if you get it wrong, you're all going to die. Like it's
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Malum is my favorite, but nobody else I know likes this game, right? Nobody I
okay.
know because once you identify and get the ritual in place, like this Blade Runner type 90s Matrix music comes on and you all get
Mhm.
guns and you have to go kill the ghost.
That sounds so fun.
It is fun and nobody likes it but me. And I don't understand. I don't understand why. All the people I game with, it's like their least favorite one. And I'm like, this is so stupid and I love it so much. And you can even, there's even a furry skin that you can be. It's like a wolf or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just, I, I don't know. It's just one of my favorites. Anyway, I got
That's
totally off topic, but I'm not
No,
mad about
you're
it.
good. I think I have a tendency to drive things off topic. It's
No,
my
no,
skill.
no, it's totally fine. But I love anyway. My whole point in saying that was I love that you allowed yourself to go in that direction because Twitch can be a really great thing, but it can also be really stressful.
Mhm.
And one of my questions for you, and I kind of touched on this earlier, was obviously there is a transitional type of figuring Twitch out, but like going from having a full band and doing IRL gigs, what was your experience like moving, being strictly a solo artist on Twitch?
Mm. Well, I to be honest with you, I hadn't had the band for that long
Ah,
before everything shut down. Our first gig was scheduled for April of 2020.
oh my
So
gosh.
we'd been practicing together, but we'd
Oh,
never performed together. And then we can't well, obviously everything got canceled, but then rescheduled and then we canceled the next time because we just weren't ready to get back out. And like
yeah.
when we finally ended up doing our first show, I had already been on Twitch for months,
Yeah.
lots of months.
Yeah, I bet.
And so, like, more of my experiences, I've been solo for so long, so how can I transition what I've learned as a solo artist into what I do as a front person? And I think that, um, having Twitch and learning kind of how to talk to people and how, like, to work together as a team, as a community to accomplish goals and stuff has definitely helped a lot in the transition into playing in the band as well.
That makes sense. I had that shit totally backwards. I guess I just assumed. I think because of all of the Jane and the Huntsman socials and the branding and things, I didn't see anywhere. I didn't realize that y'all were new in 2020.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my bad. I actually asked the opposite question.
No, you're good. You're good. I
That
don't think I've talked about like when the band started a lot. I had like an open audition in December of 2019 at Guitar Center and we had a good amount of people show up, which I was shocked because I felt like, such a small fish in a big pond. And
yeah.
then a bunch of people came out and we were like, they were I asked them to learn 2 songs, one from my list and one from their own list.
Oh,
And the only member of the band that is the same from that audition impressed me because he played cake and sang
all right.
harmonies.
Oh, nice. So,
So I was super excited.
how did you get quick little side smirk here. How did you get access to a guitar center to just like hold open auditions?
They had practice rooms that they were letting people rent.
Oh.
And then they stopped that. They stopped that at the end of 2019. So I went in and I said, "Hi, I reserved this practice room for 2 hours." And they said, "Oh, we don't do that anymore. We're just going to give you the room for free, but
Oh.
let us know what gear you need and we'll have it, but please sign this paper saying you're not going to destroy anything."
Wow. So they
So
didn't
it was
even they didn't do the due diligence of like making sure that nobody was booked out in the future. Like
nope, nope. They were just like, we're done."
oh, and just kind of hoping that people would forget that they reserved the rooms maybe. That's
I guess so.
alrighty then. That's interesting. I was just curious because like I'd never heard of that, but that it makes sense honestly. And I'm sure that like
Yeah.
some guitar centers don't even have those types of rooms. So like I don't think any of them around us. Maybe there's one giant guitar center around here that might, but I had never heard of that. So that
Yeah.
makes sense now.
I think the ones I've been to up north, because I like to go to guitar centers while I'm on tour just to see all the different ones, because sometimes they can collect like different little historical instruments and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But the ones up north in the Midwest, I feel like they're not as big. They're
Yeah.
not as
Yeah.
big, or if they are big, they're just like open space and the bare bones of like what you need,
Yes. It'll
you
be
know?
a ton of open space and then like a rack of music books. and then like this other giant open space with just like a random drum set in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
But like not
There's just like one lighting rig in the middle of a huge
yeah.
room.
Yep, and then there's like some, your plastic, your plexi with a drum set in the center of it. It's very
Yeah,
strange. Yeah.
yeah.
But that is interesting. I've never been to a guitar center. I think I've been to a guitar center in like one other state because one of our guys needed something while we were on the
Mhm.
road, and I was just like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
Yeah, yeah.
But so anyway, going back to because that kind of sparked another question for me because you didn't have a band before 2020. Um,
Mhm.
were you nervous about fronting a band while you were your facial expression? So like the answer is yes. So you were nervous. My question was going to be like, did Twitch kind of give you a better platform, a better idea of what it would be like to front a band?
Somewhat, but I do think the biggest challenge has just been living in the South
Mm.
and being a femme presenting person who, is trying to navigate how to play music and have such a social job in the middle of this global pandemic, and it's it's a whole thing.
Mhm.
It's a whole thing.
It is. I'm glad.
Um
I'm glad you said that. And saying, I didn't expect you to say anything else, but like, we're in the middle of a global pandemic.
yeah. Like that in itself
Period.
is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have been a lot more brave than I have. And props
Mhm.
to you. I know you're doing the most too. Like you're doing the absolute most. And still am totally freaked out by like indoor spaces, but also like it's colder here faster. Like,
Yeah.
so it's everything becomes indoor all the time, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing for me is like we're in the slow months right now. I don't really start gigging again until March or April because that's when the weather gets better and I
Mhm.
can start going. Like one of my favorite gigs is out in this like New Orleans style patio where there's like a whole fence separating you from the audience.
Yeah.
And that kind of adds the element of, oh, I'm here providing a service. I'm not on your level, like, so you can come up to me and ask me to play Freebird.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Like I'm playing the music I am choosing to play. Do not come up
Mhm.
to me and ask me to play Creep by Radiohead. Do not fucking do it.
I mean, they'll still try to do it anyways, but you have at least a little bit more of a boundary.
Yes. Yeah. I actually literally am going to I learned they're called delineators in the process of Googling this. Like, basically they're posts with chains, and I'm gonna buy
Oh,
a set of them, and they're like, I found like a kind of rock and roll type looking one. They're like yellow and black striped.
that's
Uh,
cool.
and I'm bringing them with us because we're going on the road a couple times this summer, like playing some outdoor stuff. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't want people anywhere near me.
Don't mess with me.
Nope, I'm good. I'm like already sad enough that I gotta deal with merchandise and shit. I'm like, I don't want any extra people to deal with at
Yeah,
the end of the
yeah.
day. It's stressful though, and that was something I wanted to ask you about too. Was obviously you deal with chronic illness, same as me,
Mhm.
different diagnoses, but that's you were one of the first people that I invited to the chronically sickening team, um,
Yeah.
because you were loud and proud about this. And well, maybe proud is not the right word, but
It's
you
a
know what I mean. It's a word.
word.
But I want to give you props because you go in on Instagram specifically. Well, and TikTok
Mhm.
too, but like your Instagram stories, I appreciate so much that you show the ugly truth that not everything's okay all the time.
Yeah.
We put on a cute top and lipstick and whatever we need to do to sometimes get the
Mhm.
job done, but it's it's very very difficult. And so I wanted to ask you kind of how your health has been going. Yes, yes, yes. And even if you're not necessarily feeling like you're doing advocate work, even just sharing is a lot. And I'm sure people have told you that. No, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, okay, so this I have a lot to say about this actually.
Please. Yes, say it all.
So one of the things I was actually talking about before we raided over into you today was like about how you were such an important part of my health journey actually because you were somebody that was loud about dealing with endometriosis and I'd never really heard about that, but when I first started considering that as maybe what I was going through, I knew that you were there and talking about it. And so I did reach out and not to say that you should reach out to people specifically privately or
But
whatever.
yeah, I always say that though. So to be
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
I invite people normally to say something. Yeah.
But I just it was so nice to like know that somebody else was experiencing it and that I could hear what they went through firsthand. And so, like, I really admire you for what you do to speak out about it. And I hope that reflects in me being able to help other people in the future as well.
Aw.
Because I ended up getting my endometriosis diagnosis last May after I had surgery. And that was crazy because I thought I was crazy, legitimately. I thought my symptoms were just in my head and that I was creating them somehow from mental anguish or something like that. And then it turns out, nope,
Yeah,
it's real.
it's
It's real.
wild. When I was, and this is why I speak out, because you and a couple other people I've spoken to, Kiger is somebody who got their diagnosis. I'm not tooting my own horn. I promise this is going to come off that this way, but she also went after a diagnosis because of what I was saying. Every single
Mhm.
symptom I was talking about, she's like, oh my God, like all these light bulbs. And she was confiding in me all these things. And she didn't make it public for a really long time because it's so hard to get a diagnosis,
Yeah,
especially for endo, because they have to do surgery to get a diagnosis. And you already know that, Jayne. Like you're here, you
yeah,
know that. I'm saying it for everybody else at this point. There is no way to see the scar tissue that basically is what endometriosis looks like. Kind of, it basically looks like scar tissue, but you can't see it on most imaging. So they have to basically go in and see it to diagnose you. So
yeah.
hence you had to have surgery to get the diagnosis. I was exactly the same way. I was
Mhm.
24 when I got my diagnosis, and my 10-year diagnosis anniversary is this month, actually.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
diagnosed 10 years ago. And so I was told the same thing. And tell me, like, I don't know if you had this experience, but I would go to my
Mm,
doctors and I would say, there's like, and I was like 22 or 23. Like, you know, I
mhm.
started to notice changes in my diet. And I'm like, there's something wrong. Like, I could eat this, this, and this before. And like, now it's like something's really wrong. And then I would have these terrible mood swings that didn't seem to be related to birth control or they were just like random as shit. And I went to my doctor, who was a female at the time, and I told her these things. And she's like, you're 22 or however, 22,
Mhm.
23. She's literally said, there can't be anything wrong with you. You're too young. There's nothing wrong with your hormones. And you were told the same fucking thing almost 10 years later.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
It's
I
disgusting.
mean,
It's
the
terrible.
the crazy thing for me is like the first OBGYN I went to was when I was 18 and I went in and she diagnosed me with PCOS, which I do
Mhm.
have PCOS as well. And it's also terrible, awful, and everybody should go look it up because
Yeah.
a lot of people deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a higher statistic than you think it would be.
Yeah.
Um, but beside that, she was an awful doctor.
Oh, God.
She was the one who put me on birth control to help me be able to manage the pain of the PCOS,
Yeah.
but then would go on and say things like, I would never put my daughter on this. And I just like the kind of gaslighting that you can get from the healthcare system in the United States is ridiculous.
Hmm.
I have been to so many doctor's appointments and just feel like completely unheard it's crazy.
Yeah. And they make you feel crazy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's absolutely disgusting. That the doctor that told me that almost the same thing was
Mhm.
the person my mom was going to too. And literally, I had such a massive cyst in my ovary that
Mhm.
when that test came back, like I was begging for ultrasounds. Like I, I'm a child. Just let me have these out. Like, why are you trying to not keep me healthy? I'm telling you, I'm in pain. And I was in so much
Yeah.
pain and I was gaining weight in a really weird way, which that's not normal either, to just
No.
randomly gain weight. And I was lopsided. I could see that there was something wrong, but nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. You're too young for
Nothing's
that.
wrong.
Nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
And then they found this massive cyst. I ended up in the ER. And when the doctors, because I was in a wedding band at the time, and the doctors were like, you need to take like a couple weeks off and schedule a surgery immediately. And I was like, have to go to work like in 3 days. I'm in a wedding band. Like, that's not how this works. They looked
Yeah.
at
How am I
me
gonna pay my
like,
bills?
yeah. And they looked at me like I was crazy. But it was the first time they were like looking at an image and seeing, no, you have a really big cyst that is like not normal. And so I was so gaslit that I was gaslighting them back because I was like, well, it can't be that bad. I have to go to work. Like,
Like, they let me run on this for so long. I think I can keep going.
yes.
Like,
And then I ended up in the ER and they were like, um, maybe don't. So I took a couple weeks off and then silly me went back to the same doctor because I wasn't, when you're 22 or 23, you're not ready to advocate for yourself yet.
no.
And I mean, maybe that's not true anymore, maybe because of the way social media is. But at the time, like I didn't even, I was barely into like smartphone age. Okay. Like I had just put down the map quest. Like it's like it was too long ago. Um, and so I went back to the same doctor who was like, well, let's do birth control again. Let's try a different one. It might shrink it. And it did.
Mhm.
And then a whole year later, it got so big that it got to be this big. Like, yeah. And then I had to schedule emergency surgery. Uh, and so that could have been literally fatal. It burst while they were pulling it out. And it was this whole
Mm.
big thing. It was a scare. It was a cancer scare, all because I wasn't advocating for myself yet. And so people don't realize how important it is. And even if I mean, I've reached a couple people, but even if I just reached one person, you, Jayne, who
Mhm.
went to the doctor simply because I was saying, you I was gaslit to hell and back. Be careful.
Mm.
And I hope you have since found better doctors.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely have since. I went to go see my first, male OBGYN, and he actually, even though I was terrified to do it, like,
Mhm.
he was a great doctor, and he immediately was like, "What you're experiencing sounds like it might be endometriosis, and we won't know unless you want to have the surgery." But he didn't automatically try to pressure me into it, which
Mhm.
I was really happy for because I wasn't quite ready for that yet.
Yeah.
So we tried birth control and then the pain just got so unbearable to where I was like, "Nope, nope, I'm gonna try surgery."
Yeah.
And I did, and he found a lot. And I think that's my one regret is that I waited. Um, because I didn't trust myself and my body, and I think that hopefully us talking about this will allow somebody to trust their body and be able to advocate for themselves. I know my sister's like 21 years old and she is advocating for herself very well.
Good. And I'm so glad to hear you say that. Like, good. And somebody in the chat, Mick, immediately, I needed to hear
Yeah.
this. Advocate for yourself. If you are feeling some sort of way physically, I mean, mentally as well, but we live in this toxic societal expectation system that
Mhm.
is just hustle culture. Hustle, don't rest. It's like, ugh, no. But like, and I still, I abode by that, abided. I think I don't think abode is a word. I definitely subscribed to that up until the pandemic because I I didn't realize how much extra pain I was in.
Yeah.
Um, and then once I could rest more, I realized that I'm like, oh my God, like I'm in pain like 85% less at the time.
Yeah.
And so now I have all these people in my life that saw me in hustle culture and not and literally treating myself as if I'm an able-bodied person
Yeah.
for decades, you know? And now I have had to put so many boundaries up that people it was polarizing. There are some people who are not going to be in my life anymore because they could not understand those boundaries. Is that something you've had to deal with as well?
I think it has been something I've dealt with already, like people just not understanding that, like, if I tell you, "Oh, I've been having a bad day," it doesn't mean I wanna go out with you and go party and all
Yeah.
that. I'm like, "No, I I'm in pain. I'm physically suffering. I'm probably going to make some tea and go lie down."
Yeah. And people take it really personally. And
Mhm.
that's why I share, like, I'm a shit poster of memes too. All like, I'm sure you see it. I
I
post
know, I love
I
it.
post so many chronic pain or chronic illness or whatever disability, physical limitations,
Was
those kind of things. I post them constantly because
Mhm.
I need to push it in people's faces. I need people to understand that this is our reality. I'm not making this up and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm in pain.
No. I mean, honestly, I'm really at this point in my life, I'm just looking for people who want to come over to my house, sit on the couch with me, watch a movie, hang out with my dog, eat food, have a good time.
Listen, I just said that to Jen the other day too. I literally, people cannot understand that we would just rather be in the comfort of our own space. I
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not dying to go anywhere. I I spent a decade being in public and this is COVID aside. This is literally COVID and sickness aside. I don't want to
Yeah,
be anywhere but my own space or somebody's very comfortable space that
yeah.
has heating pads
Oh, oh, yes.
and tea, maybe wine if I'm feeling okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's so hard to explain. I'm so grateful that there are so many people in chat who was like, "Yes, I need yes, hello, hi, it's me." Yes.
That's my whole thing with Twitch though, is I feel so seen because I'm not the only introvert on this platform, you know? Like, we're all like the socially awkward folks who are just trying to band together so that way we do have a support system.
Yes, all the heating pads. I need to make a heating pad emote for, like, anybody who like, all of the people in the chronically sickening team. Like, "Here you go, take this heating pad emote." I don't know what that even looks like, but whatever.
I
Um,
don't know.
yeah. Yeah, my hustle habits were so bad. My dad was there. We had
Mhm.
a Hard Rock Cafe here in Detroit. It's been since closed for a long time. I did an
Yeah.
entire 3-hour set and I was literally looked ill. I did the whole set in these
Oh,
giant boots and skinny jeans and it was terrible. And I literally 3
mhm.
hours after the gig, I think about 3 hours after the gig, me and my partner at the time went to the ER and I was there for like a whole
Yeah.
day. Like it's crazy. Hustle culture is stupid. And Twitch, speaking of Twitch, safe spacing and all the things, like I had never really realized, I'd never heard so many people outwardly valuing rest before.
Mhm.
And for all of Twitch's flaws, if, as a platform, as it doesn't want you to rest because then it messes up the algorithm, which I've talked about many a time. Uh, but the people on Twitch are so pro rest and rest is productive.
Mhm.
And again, I'm going to shout out Wonder Truly because they also share a
Yeah.
lot of that type of stuff. Rest is productive and we need it. Like
Yeah.
and people on Twitch are so quick to be like, "Listen, if you're not okay, why are you here? Why are you streaming?" Like
Why aren't you taking care of yourself? We want you to.
literally,
That's
and it's hard. It's a hard balance. But like that authenticity, that genuine nature, like that was one of the reasons, like full circle, introvertedness being genuine, just being yourself. Like that was a reason why I kept going back to your channel over and over again. Was what obviously your music is fantastic and you're very
Thanks.
talented as well. But like for me, that's not it's not the end of the day for me. Why I keep going back
Yeah.
to a channel. It's because you're saying important things or you're just being your damn self. That's
I mean, in a world where you could be anyone, why not put a new spin on it?
yes, exactly. And also like being out and proud about your gender and all those things like that's something that I didn't start to do until Twitch either. Because
Yeah.
it had never even occurred to me. Like my sexuality I've been out about for a very, very, very long time. Um, like as soon as I learned the word pansexual, like which was in
Mhm.
college, I was like, "Oh my god, light bulb! I'm pretty sure that's me." Um,
Yeah.
but like I was like, "But I'm cisgender." Period.com because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
there's nothing in between cisgender and trans. So
Yeah. When it's this huge, like, umbrella.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like I've always known it was a spectrum, but
Mhm.
it's taken hearing a lot of non-binary people talk about who they are and why they feel that way for me to be like, "Oh my god, I think I might be
Yeah.
somewhere on a non-binary spectrum." Like
Yeah.
and that's loaded to do on Twitch. It
Yeah.
is
It's complicated.
it is complicated. It's very complicated and you get the trolls along with it and it's just it is. It's very complicated.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
know that your journey with that has been complicated too. Like
Yeah.
and living in the South, I've heard you talk specifically about that. So we
Yeah.
we I was to say we don't even have to go down that road if you don't want to.
I mean, I
But
will. I think that that's the thing is, like, the South is a topic. It's a topic that a
Mhm.
lot of people talk about because, yeah, a lot of stuff is behind. But you do have these pockets of people who are so sincere and genuine and really want everybody of all likeness to succeed. And so I think that just finding those people banding together and trying to educate others about why it's important to recognize every individual as an individual is just so it's so healthy this day
Yeah.
and age.
Yes. Instead of blanketing people, and I love that you said earlier as a femme presenting person. That
Yeah.
that language is so valued to me because I
Yeah.
feel that. Like I feel it so hard. I am that person who is I
Yeah.
literally only present female. That is
Yeah.
and but in my brain and the relationship that I have with my body is very different
Mhm.
and it's just
That's
not talked
that's
about.
how I felt as well. I think really what actually I even was, in my opinion, very close-minded about gender for a long time, but
Mhm.
my sister came out as trans 4, 5 years ago now or something like that, and
Wow.
it caused me to, like, go into reading different books and different literature and hearing other people's stories and really getting the full scope of what gender is before I really was like, oh, I don't relate to just female. Like, my humanness is not fully encapsulated by that.
Yeah.
I do consider myself demigirl, which uses she and they pronouns kind of interchangeably.
Mhm.
And so I think that's it's been interesting to see, like, how it's developed, and I'm always growing as a person and learning, so
I mean, and that's the healthiest thing to come of any of that. You know, I've been the same exact way. I'm like, I have to dig into this further. Uh
yeah.
and I learned again, I date myself, but it is what it is. I a part of me almost went into gender studies when I went to college.
Mhm.
And I there was no reason I didn't. I just felt like it wasn't going to apply to a job terribly well. And so
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, I love this, but like, how is this going to apply?" As if the other things applied any better.
Yeah.
But I started learning about transgender people and watching documentaries on them because of the classes I was taking. And this would have been in 2008 or 9-ish, give or take.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10-ish. And I was floored. I did not have any knowledge of like any other thing but straight or bi or gay.
Yeah, yeah.
Period. And at the time, I even think the words like cross dress. Why is that so hard to say? My brain's like, don't say that word. It's not good. Like that word was still in use at the time. Like it, like it was so outdated.
Yeah.
It was on its way
It,
out. Luckily, the word transsexual was still very, very in use, which I don't really hear
yeah.
that word anymore
I don't
too
either.
much.
I might have heard it a couple of times, but all from older people.
Yes, or you're listening to Rocky Horror, that's it. Uh,
Yeah.
because it's in Rocky Horror. But yeah, and like Io was saying, back in 2008, trans folks were still very much a mystery, absolutely. And people who were trans were getting pulled onto talk shows and then getting asked about their private parts as if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's so bad. And I only feel like recently that's stopped happening. Like,
I love, like, when people ask you about your gender and they're like, "What's in your pants?" And I'm just like, "Legs. There's legs in my pants." Same as almost everybody else.
oh, that
Sometimes not, but
that just tickled me. Tickled. I can't wait to use that. I can't. And I'm if it's on Twitch, I'm gonna give you the credit. Even if it's not on Twitch, I'm gonna be my friend Jayne taught me. Fucking legs, bro. What the fuck? That's great. Um, but I feel like a lot of the things like, transgender people were always the villain in every single movie. Every
Mhm.
single movie, and I feel like the only time it started to get, like, better was with Orange Is the New Black with Laverne Cox. I feel like that was one of the first things
I'm
because,
so behind on television. I have still never seen Orange is the New Black.
to be fair, I never finished it. But it's a really good watch. I do recommend it. I think there's, like, 10. How many seasons? Somebody Google it because there's so many seasons. There's, like, at least 10 seasons. I watched, like, the first 5, maybe. Um, yeah, I'm an OG Netflixer. Yep, gonna keep dating myself every single time. Uh, what was good? Orange is the New Black, Beta. Beta is also somebody who helped me really challenge my gender
Mm.
ideals about myself. I think that Beta and I were very, very much in on the same journey almost in terms of figuring out what the fuck's going on between our brains and our
Yeah.
bodies. But yeah, it's been Twitch is what opened up my eyes to really considering what my own gender really is. And I would just sit on I have a little patio out front with my little coffee when it's nice out. And
Yeah.
literally, I would, like, just, it was on my mind so often that I'm like, if I'm thinking about it this hard,
Mhm.
like, it just never occurred to me to think about it that hard. So this space, there's so many things that I value in talking about in this space, and that is also one of them. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Io agrees. First
Yeah.
positive-ish, right? They're all in prison, so like, like it's positive-ish. So it's yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's the one thing I do hate about, like, media constantly was portraying trans people as Crystal said,
mhm.
tricksters trying to lure poor, unfortunate straight white guys into be attracted. That's
Yes,
so true.
yeah, and
It's what they did.
that is still happening. How
Yeah.
dare transgender people and drag queens not be the problem? How dare? Like, people just want to pin it on them because it's easier to do. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's getting better, but it's like gonna take like another 8 decades. I don't know. It's
That's what it feels like.
right? Like it's already been how many decades since Stonewall, and that was, that was only the beginning of people understand what people didn't understand. But that was
No,
just
yeah.
like the tip of the iceberg. And what year? I mean, I feel like you're gonna know the answer to that. What year was that?
1964, maybe?
1964. I knew it was like in the 60s, probably. I'm like, where?
1969.
Oh, not. Why couldn't I know that?
You'd think I'd remember that.
Now we're all gonna remember that.
I
There it
will
is.
never forget.
I knew it was a very long time ago. But like how many it's been that many decades. It's been 5 decades. Well, more really. If you really math it, it's been more than 5 decades, and it's going to take like another 5. And that's exactly it. Io. That was my point. Literally, kicked off by a trans woman, and it's just kind of been this cyclical situation ever since. That it's anybody who isn't just a male or a female, trans, whether you're non-binary, and I love, by the way, that I'm seeing more non-binary people in media, and it's
Yeah.
not people like I also, here's a thing that'll probably you'll relate to, is like, oh my goodness, oh my god,
Benoit!
hello, Fen. We
I
were actually just finishing up. Eventually, because we're all over an hour, but we're having such a lovely time talking
I'm
that I
so
was like,
sorry.
no, bish, it's my show. I could have been like, we're done. Hi, Ben. How are you doing? How was your stream? Here's the thing. I'll do like one more song after the chat because we had a bunch of raids. And if anybody is still here from the raids, or if they came in from Jayne's raid much earlier, I would love to play y'all like one song to kind of leave the stream on like a higher note than we're talking some heavy stuff right now. We're talking gender. And so hi, welcome in, John. Fen, how was your stream? Tell me all about it. Yes, gotta use the love troll emote. I love it. It's my face with like a million chins. Um, but something I was gonna say about like the non-binary representation, it's getting better, but it's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing in memes a lot now is nine non-binary people do not owe you androgyny because
Yeah.
people automatically think non-binary means, well, they must be exactly neither.
Neither. Yeah. But it's not like female male or female non-binary male.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah. It's
you know.
just this big mesh. Yeah. I'm me too, Io. Me too. And I ranted about our country as well. We have ranted a couple things. The healthcare
We have.
guitar
This
centers
is
not
good
being
for my
created
soul.
equally. No, I'm just kidding. Good. No, I'm glad, honestly. And that's why I was like, don't be nervous because we're just going to chat. We're just going to chat about
Yeah.
things that are, well, important, but also totally not important.
Yeah.
We also
I
got all the
mean,
way to the goose game. So,
the goose game, yeah.
but I try to keep our chats to about an hour because I'm very, very conscious of people's time, their energy, especially fellow spoonies. So y'all, if you decided that you just fell in love with Jayne Huntsman and you need to go follow them everywhere, please, please, please do that chat command or that literally just now the shout out for Jayne Huntsman's Twitch channel is in the chat as well. If you do the Twitch command, no, the chat command, so many words. You will also find the Twitch channel. You will also find JayneandTheHuntsman.com because that is Jayne's band. Yeah, Don, I almost said Dawn.
Don's one of my mods. He's such a troll.
Touche. Yes, a great follow. And if anybody is here because Jayne was on the show today, thank you so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate that. I literally started doing the Acco Taco About It chats because I wanted to bring love to other people who I'm inspired by and who I think are talented. And so you have been on my list for a very long time. And this was the the second time we rescheduled, I suppose. The first time,
second reschedule.
yeah, the first time I had COVID and I was putting off, you were like, "Are you sure you want to do this week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to be totally fine." And then like the day before, I'm like, "Man, you were right. I gotta go. I can't do this."
I just remembered what it was like when I had COVID, and I
Yeah.
was like, I really didn't want you to push it. Not that I should push my agenda for rest on you, but like it was so rough. It was so bad.
And I thought that I was doing better, and then I pushed myself too hard is what had happened. And so I got worse before I got better again.
Listen, I'm going to stop
Yeah.
you and say,
Oh.
no, please push your agenda of resting onto Erin. Please do it. I ask you to please push that agenda onto Erin. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
I mean, I had to cancel the second one that
Yeah.
we had planned because I needed to rest because I've been having odd symptoms that I can't figure out. And I went to the doctor last week. Yeah, last week at this point, and was going in thinking, oh, I'm going to get answers. And instead, I was just told to exercise. And so, so like the whole rest of the week, I was like, I need to come up with a game plan. I need to
Mhm.
figure out how I'm going to help myself. And I'm working on it, trying to figure out more stuff. But I'm so thankful that you were able to reschedule again. And I'm so sorry if that
No.
was.
Not one bit. Because I was watching that sounds creepy. I was watching you. But you were doing the same thing to me. Probably. Like, I knew you were doing the same thing to me when I was about to cancel because I'm like, yeah, no, you've seen my stories. You know I'm not all right. We got to reschedule. And so then the same exact thing happened on the flip side was I was watching your stories and I'm like, she's not okay. She's not all right. Nothing's okay. And that's why I was like,
No.
I think like next week's probably better. And you're like, yep. You didn't even try. You're like, yep, I think that's going to work better. I'm like, perfect. Great, fantastic. But we got to look out for each other in that way because
Yeah.
especially like we should be pushing the agenda to rest, by the way. I agree. We should be pushing the agenda to rest, especially for spoonies because we're not good at it because unless you have been a spoonie all your life, it's
Mhm.
very difficult to deprogram. Especially
Mhm.
as a musician when you got to get the gigs. You can't cancel gigs. That's a bad look. Canceling gigs
Yeah.
is a bad look unless you're puking or pooping. You don't cancel
Yeah.
the gig. That's it. You
We
don't
don't
do it.
cancel it.
And so
Yeah.
I think that you should be pushing your agenda to rest and especially on me.
Yeah.
Especially on spoonies who need to hear it because we're not good at it. I speak for a lot of spoonies. We are not good at being honest about when we need to rest.
Yeah.
And so I applaud you for pushing me the first time. And I'm gonna say it. I am not mad that I was like, hey, uh, you might need to rest a little longer than this Friday. And you were like, yep, yeah.
Yep. Yep. A little
uh,
bit. And a little bit longer.
yes. Um, so with that, I called you an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I could talk to you all night,
I
literally.
know.
I feel like I could talk to you all night, but I'm gonna let you go because it has been an hour and 20 minutes. And yes, I saw a couple people saying like they definitely want to rewatch this. This will be up just this segment that is, an hour and 20 minutes long or whatever it ends up being. Just this segment will be available publicly on my YouTube in 24 hours from when we hang up. That is because 24 hours, you can't do anything else outside of Twitch with the content until 24 hours, which is why it takes me the whole 24 hours. So yeah, you'll be able to rewatch it. And just in case, again, if anybody just fell head over heels in love with Jayne, please, please, please go follow. You can do command chat to get Jayne's links to Twitch and to janeandthehuntsmans.com. I just said Huntsmans. Jane's in the Huntsmans.com. You'll find it. It's there.
It's cute.
So before we hang up the Discord, please share what your current schedule is and anything else you want to promote. Anything new coming up.
Um, well, we're fundraising for the album, which we go into the studio March 13th. So if you guys want new music and you want to help me out, follow my dreams and also the guys' dreams. Just come to stream and be part of the fun. Be that another person who is viewing it. So put attention on it,
Yeah.
But also, my schedule is currently noon every weekday, but things might be changing a little bit just because I got some news right before my chat with you. So I might need to rearrange just a few things.
Don't you hate that when you're like, I just fixed
I
this,
know.
and then
I was like, I'm ready to be consistent and my best self. And then
you're like, damn it. Yeah.
it
Well,
happens.
all you got to do then is make sure you're following Jayne on every single social.
Absolutely. All of them.
I would say that you're definitely the most active on Instagram, probably.
Yeah.
Uh,
Instagram is my jam.
yeah, honestly, same. I try so hard to get better about Twitter and to get better about TikTok, but at the end of the day, I always end up back on Instagram. It's just a
Yeah.
like magnetic pull. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But I will hang up for now. I hope you have a really, really lovely evening. Thank you for giving us so much time and energy. Seriously. Claps,
Thank you
y'all,
so
sis,
much for having me
for of
and for
course.
creating a space where people can be comfortable, you know?
Yeah. And I'm so glad to hear when the space is doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so gratifying. So thank you for being here. Y'all know exactly where to find Jayne. And yeah, this will be available in about 24 hours on the YouTube, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon in
Yeah, let's
on
chat.
all the places. So yeah, thank you for being here, and yeah, I hope you have a lovely evening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.